Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm going to be dealing with a TPMS light that just came on in my FJ Cruiser. So when I turn on the truck, I get this little light here and it stays on whenever I'm driving around. So that tells me that the tire pressure in one or more of my tires is low. Now it's important to note that the FJ Cruiser has 5 tires. Some people forget that there is a TPMS sensor inside of the spare tire, so we're going to go ahead and check that as well, just to make sure that that one is up to spec. I should also point out that tire pressure reading should be done before the car has been run for a while. Like, you want to do it on cold tires as opposed to having driven it for maybe 10 miles or so and having air pressure change in your tires with the temperature. So maybe first thing in the morning is a good time to do it, or if the car hasn't been driven for a while. So that's a good rule of thumb. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my trusty little tire gauge here and go around the truck and test out all tires and see what the PSI is at. This here is the driver's side front. Normal. Moving on to the rear left. This is normal as well. Back right tire. This is reading the same at 35. But since my 4 tires are showing normal PSI, I'm gonna go ahead and check the spare. I do suspect that it is the spare that's low because I've sort of neglected that one for a while, which can happen if you have a spare, but it's always a good idea to make sure that the tire pressure on your spare is in line with the rest of your tires. So let's go ahead and take a look at that and we'll see what it's reading. All right, so I'm gonna remove the spare tire cover and then go ahead and test the PSI on the spare tire. By the way, if you haven't seen my video on the FJ Cruiser spare tire cover, I've noticed that most of these Frisbees have this mark on it from the spare tire cover. You can see it inside here, right there, where it rubs along the Frisbee. Just something that I've noticed when I've seen other FJs driving around. If you haven't seen my video, just go ahead and check that out. Anyway, the next thing to do to remove this Frisbee is to pull off this piece of right here. It'll reveal a 12mm bolt, which you can undo with a ratchet. All right, now we have access to our tire valve. And let's just see where it's reading. Yep, it's low. It's reading, I think it's like 25 PSI, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up with air and then see if we can get that TPMS light to go away. Well, now is as good a time as any to test out my rear window mod. And I'm just gonna release the rear door latch here by holding down this button. And there we go. If you haven't had a chance to check out my FJ Cruiser rear window mod, go ahead and check out that video right here. So now I've got my trusty air compressor, and I'm just going to go ahead and plug it into the cigarette lighter in the front and then run the cable through the back and then inflate this tire. I'm going to check it with my gauge. gauge is good. I'm gonna make the assumption that the TPMS light is off, but we're gonna go ahead and check it right now for good measure. Alright, and just as I suspected, TPMS light is gone. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and button up the spare tire because it looks like we have just solved the issue. Alright, so there you have it. We just solved the TPMS issue with the FJ Cruiser. If ever you encounter this issue, don't forget to check your spare tire, because that's one thing that I know that a lot of people forget. I know that quite a few of you already know that the spare tire is something that has a TPMS sensor, and most of you don't forget it. But for those of you who are kind of new and you know, are trying to figure out why your TPMS light is still on even though all 4 tires are up to par, most of the time it's the spare, so don't forget to check that. And also it's always a good idea to keep a tire gauge nearby. This is nice and small, it fits in the glove box, and I always keep this with me, so it's a quick way to check your tire pressure before you head out on a long road trip or whenever you feel like it. So you should check that pretty often. And the other thing is, it's always a good idea to have an air compressor in your vehicle as well. So that's something that I keep in the trunk. It's very small and super portable, and it's powered by the 12-volt you know, cigarette lighter here in the FJ Cruiser. So not a bad idea to keep that handy whenever you're out and about. And that's it. So I hope that you guys all enjoyed this video and hope that you learned something from it. And thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.